The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
This week's episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast is dedicated to nature. The title of this week's episode of 15 Minutes of Fab is Get Out and Prosper. I'm sure you've been told to get out in nature. Well, what does that mean exactly? And why is this recommendation beneficial to our health and well-being? I've often heard that in order to be holistically well, we must reconnect with the natural environment and get out into nature. Other than to appreciate natural beauty, let's say of a picturesque lake, the rolling hills of a landscape, or a sunset, for example, I didn't understand that there would be additional benefits to soaking it all in, and benefits that would impact our wellness, mental health, and living a holistically beautiful life. And then I learned. So for this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab, I decided to dig a little deeper to find out what getting out in nature really means, how to do it well, and the reasons why we may want to do so more often. And I came to find that being out in nature really does contribute to living a more beautiful life. And therefore, it's perfect for this podcast. So being, quote, out in nature, end quote, simply means to be outdoors and to spend time in your natural environment wherever you are and, believe it or not, no matter the season. My favorite seasons, in order of preference, are summer, autumn, spring, and winter. So for me, the cold of winter makes it super challenging for me to get out and breathe it all in. So I have to take advantage of getting out in nature and the other three seasons. But there are advantages to getting out, no matter the outdoor temperature. An AI overview on the web listed a number of reasons why people go out in nature, beginning with, quote, stress relief. Natural settings promote relaxation and reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels and your heart rate. Improve mental well-being. Exposure to nature can alleviate anxiety, boost confidence, enhance focus, and foster mindfulness by grounding you in the present moment. Physical health benefits. Outdoor activities provide physical exercise, which contributes to better cardiovascular health, increased stamina, and higher vitamin D levels from sunlight exposure. Cognitive benefits. Time spent in nature can stimulate creativity and improve problem-solving skills by clearing the mind and reducing mental fatigue. Connection to something larger. Being in nature can create a sense of awe and a feeling of connection to the earth and the universe, offering a spiritual and grounding experience, end quote. In addition, an online article from the University of California at Davis summarizes the research findings from the United States Department of Agriculture in highlighting how getting outdoors improves overall health. These observations include that, quote, people who live near parks and green spaces have less mental distress, are more physically active, and have longer lifespans. In addition, exposure to nature may decrease death from chronic disease. Also, when people exercise outdoors and in nature, they do so for longer periods of time and at greater intensities. And finally, positive health effects are enhanced when green space includes water, end quote. I have also found that additional benefits of getting out into nature include improved mood, boosted immune function, better sleep, more enjoyable social interactions, increased creativity, improved problem solving, reduced feelings of loneliness, improved self-esteem, increased appreciation of beauty, and a deeper sense of gratitude. Well, all of that sounds very compelling. So, what are some of the ways to get out to reap the benefits of nature? Well, I found a plethora of options, and many of which require no money at all. So, these options, or some of them, if not most of them, should be accessible to almost everyone. So, here are some ideas for you to get out into nature. Go to a park, hike, bike, go for a walk outside, run outdoors, take an outdoor yoga class, participate in outdoor activities such as skiing and snowshoeing if in the winter, sit at the beach, go camping, go fishing, enjoy water sports, photograph nature, stargaze, tend to a garden, practice mindfulness by focusing on the sights, sounds, and smells of your outdoor environment. And here's one that I had to learn about: forest bathing. When I first heard about forest bathing, I thought it meant go out into the woods, go out into the forest and get naked. But according to the web, quote, forest bathing is also known as Shinrin-yoku in Japanese, and is a practice that involves spending time in a forest while immersing oneself in the natural environment. It encourages individuals to slow down, connect with nature, and engage their senses through activities such as walking slowly and mindfully, observing trees, plants, and wildlife, listening to the sounds of the forest, breathing in fresh air, and touching bark, leaves, and soil, end quote. Another activity that you can do to get out into nature is one that I've been practicing for many years, and I just call it get grounded. Now, the web describes grounding also as grounding your feet or earthing, and it's the practice of connecting your bare skin to the earth's surface to receive its free electrons, which are believed to have a neutralizing and anti-inflammatory effect on the body's positive charge. You can ground yourself by walking or standing barefoot on natural surfaces like grass or dirt, end quote. Just a couple of examples. If you're interested in investing in your health and gaining a deeper sense of well-being and living a more beautiful life, get outdoors. You know many ways you can accomplish this impactful act of self-care. So how are you going to get out into nature today? This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast. Thank you for listening. And until next time, stay beautiful and forever fabulous inside and definitely out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.